Excuse me. Hi. This is pretty random, but I just saw you here sitting and I wanted to meet you. Hi guys, this is Sam from Fluid Social, and today I'm going to show you a little video of a woman that I spoke to a few days ago, and she was from New Zealand, and it was quite an interesting interaction, very low energy, but I want to break down for you guys some of the social nuances that maybe you aren't so obvious just from watching the video alone. So I'm going to break down this video and I hope you guys enjoy it. Excuse me. Hi, this is pretty random, but I just saw you here sitting and I wanted to meet you. So over the past few months I've been really pushing this idea that you don't need to go in and give a bold forward compliment to talk to a woman. You can actually just go up and say, excuse me, I just saw you sitting here and I wanted to meet you. Or I saw you sitting here, I know this is a little unusual, but I wanted to meet you. And thereby you don't immediately put this frame around the interaction that you're trying to date her. There may be a suggestion of attraction, but it's not so forward and obvious, and this will allow her not to raise her resistance shield. Essentially, if you give someone too forward a compliment, they feel like they know what you're trying to do. They don't want to put a frame around it, so often they'll pull back. But just by sitting down and saying, I just wanted to meet you, you're allowing her to leave the interaction open and to have an open mind about who you might be and how the interaction might go and what the relationship might be. That's all right. You're from Australia?
No, I'm from New Zealand.
Yikes. That was my first error. You guys, it's kind of difficult to tell the accents apart unless you come from Australia or New Zealand. But I feel like for you guys it's really easy, right? Yeah, I'm from England. So as you saw just there, I had a 50-50 chance of getting the accent right. It's either Australia or New Zealand. I guessed the wrong one. And in that situation, it's not a problem, obviously. No one's going to be offended that you got their accent wrong between Australia and New Zealand. And so you can kind of just play it off like, oh, that was my first social faux pas. Sort of scratch your chin or look away, like feign awkwardness, even though it's not actually awkward, just to show that you sort of understand the nuances of the situation. Well, I live in London, but originally I'm from a place called Suffolk.
Oh, okay. I heard that's really pretty.
Have you actually heard that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Most people have. No, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Is it by the seaside?
We've got some seaside. Yeah, it's mostly just like countryside, but we have some beaches and some towns. We don't have any cities though, so it's pretty small.
I just feel like it's a little village.
Huh?
A little seaside.
It's like a giant little village, right? Like a little village that's like 100 miles. That's Suffolk. So as you guys can see, this interaction isn't following any of the, the traditional models of how a conversation should look. She was sitting down, very calm, very peaceful. I recognized in her body language that she was relaxed and low energy. And so I'm not going to come over and try and, really impress her or make my energy high. I'm just feeling chilled out as well. So I come and sit down, I take it slowly, we just have a conversation. You really don't need to be, always just making assumptions or running any game. You can just have a conversation, look in the person's eyes, tell them a little bit about yourself, find out a little bit about them, and show that you're not trying to push the interaction into a box. You're just a natural, sort of easygoing individual. And you're a city girl, I think. You live in a city.
Yeah, so I'm originally from...
You don't dress like a countryside girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you've got this. Yeah, well, this is urban you as well.
Yeah. It's my COVID outfit.
That's cool. You're still in there.
COVID outfit.
Yeah, this is my. I'm just comfy. No, I'm not. I've got a meeting later actually. Okay. So yeah, I thought
Do you work around here?
I work as a sort of coach. So I work everywhere, like a social skills and dating coach for men and women. For women in normally New York in the States,
Okay.
and for men in England.
So what's that?
So I know you guys probably maybe see some content online where people they're not honest about what they do for work, particularly if they are a dating coach or a relationship coach or something like that. But in my experience, that's just an obstacle to get over. So for me, being a dating coach, people don't necessarily have a negative perspective on that, but they will do if you have a negative perspective on it, right? So if I say, I work in finance, right? And she can tell that I'm lying about it. Or if I say, if I try and avoid answering the question properly, then it will rouse suspicion. But if you just say, yeah, I work as a coach, I coach social skills and dating, then women don't associate you with something weird or creepy or sleazy. They just see it for what it is, right? They allow that to be what it is because you're not arousing their suspicion by acting in a way that's suspicious, right? So by saying I work with men and women as a dating coach, which is true, I haven't had any problem saying that publicly. The most common thing is that they compare me to Hitch. They just say, is that like Hitch? To which I normally respond, like a far less glamorous version of it. Can I see your eyes? Can you take these off? I feel like there's like a level of detachment when you're wearing glasses.
Well, what if I was wearing them?
What if you don't have any eyes, right?
I have eyes.
Are you sure? Right, you've got eyes. Okay, that's good. Now I know. But it's like I can see the bottom half of them, but then the top half it like fades away. So I don't know where you're looking. It's kind of opposite. Right. Okay. I'll just have to trust you on that one, right? So at this point in the conversation, I was trying to look at her eyes because eye contact is really the only way that you can stay completely present-minded and focused on the individual in the interaction is to not just look in the direction of her eyes, right, so that you're seeing her eyes, but actually to look at the iris. That's something that I focus on, is remembering the color of someone's eyes, because if you're actually focusing on the color of the iris around the pupil, then it's not just that your eyes are, pointing in the same direction, but it's that you're actually looking in their eyes. You're actively looking in their eyes, and that's where the connection's built. That's where maybe you'll have that little awkward feeling inside of like, this is a little bit intense, but that intensity is the nourishment for the connection. So really, really focusing on someone's eyes. If they're wearing sunglasses, often you can say, do you mind just lifting your sunglasses? I feel a little bit detached from you, not being able to see your eyes. And in this case, you made a little joke. I'm like, I don't even know if you have eyes, right? You could have no eyes under there. And so she'll lift her sunglasses up a little bit to show me that she does have eyes. And I make a joke like maybe I should do a different angle. And so she sort of recoils away a little bit from that. But it's just playful and simple. But it's honest. It's about saying I actually feel a little bit detached because I can't see your eyes, rather than just working with staring into the black holes that are the sunglass lenses. Maybe I'll go for a different angle. It's not your good angle from the chin upwards. So I'm meeting some guys at Hyde Park later.
Oh, cool.
I just teach because there's a lot of guys in London who find it difficult to talk to people and to meet people. And I feel like women don't really have the same problem.
Yeah.
But then in the States, women find it more difficult to find relationships.
Because of that reason?
Well, because
So you do the
I guess the fast pace of life and everything in New York, it's kind of crazy, There's
Yeah.
a fast pace of life, and a lot of guys are
So you're like Hitch then?
kind of like Hitch. It's a lot less glamorous than that,
Yeah.
And you?
Okay.
And you? Why do you do the same job? Are you Hitch, Mrs. Hitch?
No, I'm
So at this point, I tell her exactly what I do, where I work with men normally in England, and I work with women in the States. And she says, naturally, kind of like Hitch, which I receive at least 50% of the time when I explain my job. And then I said a less glamorous version of that, sort of understating it, right? You don't want to say, yeah, it's like Hitch, I'm always out going to fancy restaurants, rolling with high flyers. If you start acting like that, the person knows that either it's not true or that it's true, but you still hate yourself. So by underplaying it, you can kind of just say yeah, it's much less glamorous than that, right? So you're not trying to big yourself up, you're not trying to throw yourself, your personality will speak for itself. You don't need her to know that you're rich or successful. You should be able to be comfortable with the way that you are, and then she will know that you have some level of self-satisfaction and confidence, because you don't need to talk about all your successes and how great your life is. So when she says Hitch, I say, she was understood it all, right? She didn't ask any questions. So I says, is that the job that you do? Are you Mrs. Hitch? Now, as you guys know, I talk a lot about personal narratives, building a sort of specific individual story along its own unique path with a woman. And in this case, calling her Mrs. Hitch, that gives me that first layer for the personal narrative. I created a nickname for her. So if I then go on to message her, I might say, "Good morning, Mrs. Hitch," right? And then she remembers that point in the interaction where that personal narrative was introduced. It puts a smile on her face. It's easy for her to respond to or laugh at, and it's going to be much better food for a good quality interaction afterwards. So that's there planted the first layer of a personal narrative. And obviously, I'm not consciously doing all of this. I'm not telling you need to plant the first layer of a personal narrative at this point in the interaction, but this is something that I learned for myself, and then sort of subconsciously that's just the way I communicate, and that's how this should be for you. It's not like you need to learn the structure of it and worry about which bit's coming in which place. You should just be thinking, right, that's an interesting way to communicate. That seemed fun and friendly. Let me try something like that in my own interactions and see how it changes the direction, see how it improves the quality of our conversation.
Technology is my trade.
That's really cool.
So I was doing secretary work before.
Cool. Why is the pay not good? They've already dug everything up here, right?
I honestly don't know. Like, you need to have a master's or PhD to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like 18k, 20k salary.
It's not doing it for you, is it? No. You can't even afford those glasses on that salary. You got to make your money over there and then come over here, right?
Yeah, or something. I have no idea. So that's why I just chose that work. It's easier.
Yeah.
A lot more money in comparison. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So again, the interaction doesn't look like a pickup. It didn't feel like a pickup. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to tell you why I'm good at conversation or picking up women. This is simply to break down a natural looking and feeling interaction and connect with someone in the day. So I'm looking forward to the potential barrage of YouTube comments telling me that I forgot to sexually escalate or anything like that. And just know that I didn't forget. I didn't want to. It wasn't necessary. This is how the interaction went, and I'm happy with how it went, and you should be too. You shouldn't be always trying to make everything about sex and relationships. You should be able to just connect with people in the day, see where that goes. If you like them, you can express attraction. If you don't have to. It's not incumbent upon you to treat a woman as if she's a girlfriend or a friend or a wife or a relationship or anything. Just let the interaction follow the line that feels most natural for it to follow. But make sure that if you are attracted, that you're able to actually express that to her, because she's not going to make that first move unless she sees you as much higher on some, much more attractive than she is, not just physically, but mentally as well. So it does normally require that if you do like her, that you give some signal of attraction. That just might be a way you smile at her, the way you look at her with your eyes, a little comment that you say to her or about her that has a level of humor to it. So
you just cruising the streets?
just cruising. Well, no, I got here a little bit early, right? So
The High Park's quite
straight down, Piccadilly Circus, up to Oxford Circus, left. It's nice.
yeah.
Do you know your directions? Do you know your directions in London?
Not when I'm like in the CBD area.
Yeah. Covent Garden. This place is normally really busy.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've been here before.
How long have you been here like this time since you last arrived in London?
A year, March. It's coming up to a year.
Cool. So it feels like home now. It doesn't.
Have you been there?
Where?
New Zealand, Australia?
No, I haven't. The closest I've been is Singapore.
Okay.
It's not. I mean, culturally, it's a little bit different, right? But no, I mean, I'd like to go to Australia. I've never even thought about going to New Zealand. I'm going to be honest. I've never even considered it. Tell me something. Sell it to me in a sentence. Why is it good? What's there to do? So as always in this interaction, it's better not to find yourself in a position where you ask a question, she gives you an answer, you ask another question, she gives you an answer, you ask another question, and repeat that process, because it just feels weird. It feels like you're trying to leech value. So if you get onto a topic like travel, where you're from, where she's from, see each those big topics about culture, travel, things that you're passionate about. They're opportunities to connect with another person. So when you find yourself in one of those topics, dig into it, get your claws into it and really explore it. Where's she from? What does she think about where she's from? Have you been there? What would you like to know about it? Where are you from? What would she like to know about where you're from? Where's close to where you've gone that she's been? All of these conversations are really great opportunities to actually get to know the other person. So here, she asked me if I've been to New Zealand, and I say no. Instead of saying no, I haven't, and then thinking like, oh, what do I say next because I haven't been to Singapore? It's like, no, I haven't. The closest I've been is Singapore. This is how you have a conversation. Have you been there? No, I haven't, but I've been here. Then she can comment on Singapore. It gives the conversation a route forwards. It gives it a direction. But what I see from a lot of my clients early on in their progress when they're just starting out is that they just jump from topic to topic to topic. If they guess that she's from Spain and it turns out she's from Italy, they're like, oh shit, I got it wrong. Think of something else to say. No, talk about why you thought she was from there. Ask her if she's been there before. Ask her if she's got friends from there. Dig into that one topic, because once you get below the surface of the topic, that's where you're able to actually learn about the person. And by learning about them, you connect with them. And that gives the interaction the freedom to move deeper than just skimming like a stone across a still surface.
Oh, I feel like adrenaline rush type activity.
Yeah, you can sign me up for one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on. What have you got in store for me?
We've got, nah, you have to go there.
What, like,
I'm not getting paid for this shit, okay?
how much? What's your asking price? 18k, right? To be the tour guide for New Zealand. TripAdvisor. $1 million. Wow. Right, well, I'm going to go home, I'm going to consider your option, and I think there's going to be a negotiation period of about 3 months, and maybe I'll come back to you.
Yeah, no, then I'll be back in New Zealand.
Right. Okay.
So how long have you been doing like your consulting?
So at this point, she made a little joke. I was asking her to sell it to me, and she said, I've got a price, right? So we talk about, what's your price? I say, what, like 18k? She says $1 million, right? And now these opportunities are golden opportunities in a conversation to have that banter, right? That to show your sense of humor. You really connect with people when you're able to have those in-jokes, to have that banter. And so if she says $1 million, what I can come back and say is, what I said is, I'm going to go home, consider your offer, but I think there's going to have to be a negotiation period. So it gives you guys a chance to freestyle, right? To improvise your conversation along that lines. It doesn't matter if what you say isn't particularly intelligent. And to be honest, that wasn't particularly intelligent, just saying I'll consider it and we'll have negotiations, but it's just adding to the vibe of it. It doesn't have to be perfect, a perfectly formed prose sentence that you say, as long as it gives some energy to the vibe and it adds to that little in-joke and that little bit of banter. It's a really good way of establishing a high point in the interaction that you'll then be able to link back to later on during the messaging and the dating process. 3 years.
Okay.
3 years.
I mean,
You're on the negotiating table already. I love it. It's like, so I need to get to that 1 million. What's this guy worth? Yeah, it's good. I mean, like, for me, it's like, I wouldn't live in London unless I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, right? London's like an unforgiving city.
oh yeah.
People move to London like, yeah, I'm going to go to London to like make it. And it's like, no, if you know exactly what you want to do, then it might be good. But for most people, it's not. They're better off going to like a normal city and doing a trade like elsewhere. What are you doing today, by the way?
Well, I'm just
Oh, really? Okay. Is he a friendly guy? I feel like you're not going to be with like some like Viking like. So at this point in the conversation, I said, "What are you doing today, by the way?" Because we hadn't really talked about that. We'd just been freestyling, and she said, "Well, I'm actually waiting for my boyfriend. He's inside the Apple store, right?" So again, most people then would kind of switch off and say, right, okay, this is going nowhere. See you later, goodbye. But what I said is, because she'd been investing in the interaction, asking me questions, and we were getting on really well, I said, is he a friendly boyfriend, right? So if he comes out, is he going to say hi, shake my hand, or is it going to potentially go sideways? So I asked if he's friendly.
He's a bit.
Jealous.
Yeah.
Is it a good relationship? I know, but I feel like, you know, there's a chance I'm never going to see you again. We might as well have a level of honesty.
I might have to use you dating.
Right? Is he?
No.
Okay. No, I mean,
I'll just use it.
I mean. So at this point, you know, she didn't seem too certain about how she felt about her boyfriend in the shop. Right? She wasn't saying, my boyfriend's coming out, we love each other, but he's going to be totally cool with you. In which case, I would know that situation was over with her. Instead, she said, you know, yeah, he's in there. No, he's not really. She was being quite vague. So I said, is it a good relationship, right? Not in like, is it a good relationship? Like I'm trying to get something. Just as a casual conversation, is it a good relationship? She says, that's a bit of a personal question, isn't it? And I said, yeah, you know, there's a chance we're never going to see each other again. So I feel like we should just introduce a little bit of honesty, because we might never see each other again. And so she opened up a little bit about actually how the relationship is. No, don't use Hinge. That's my client you're stealing. Listen, I'm not gonna wait for him to come out and make it weird, but I think you're cool.
Thanks.
And I'm
Pretty cool too.
Thank you.
Quite brave to just come up to
Yeah.
someone off the street.
Well, it's not everyone off the street, you must understand. If I were to ask you for your phone number and pretend that we're looking at a picture and you were to give it to me, on the off chance that this relationship doesn't go anywhere, would that be beyond inappropriate, naturally, but would it be something that you're averse to? Let's be friends.
Yeah.
Let's be friends. I think I'm a couple of friends short of, I don't know what I'm trying to say there really, but yeah, we can be friends. We don't have to put a frame around. So at this point, in true English style, I minced my words for quite a while, saying, so if I were to show you my phone and pretend that we were looking at a photo, I know that would be beyond inappropriate, but would it also be something that you're averse to? So look, it doesn't really matter. Again, the vibe is that, like, I'm basically saying, look, I know your relationship's not great. I know that there's some attraction between us because there'd been some chemistry, there'd been some investment on both sides. So I basically said, can I pretend that we're looking at a photo, get your number, and then head off before your boyfriend comes out? So we went for the friends angle. Essentially, I know a lot of people are going to be will say that you should always try and avoid the friend zone, right? There's this idea that you want to avoid the friend zone, but there's a misunderstanding between actually being friends and being some invisible, useless, attention-giving device for her. If you're one of her thousands of Instagram followers that are liking all of her pictures and trying to get with her, you stand no chance at all. But if she actually considers you potentially a friend, especially if she's in a relationship with another guy, then that is an opportunity that could serve you extremely well, right? It's giving you an opportunity for FaceTime with a girl who's likely to break up out of her relationship very soon. Even if she does just consider you a friend, right? Women are still selective about the people whose time they choose to spend their own time with, right? So she wouldn't want to meet up with you if she didn't actually consider you as someone she wants to be friends with. The idea of the friend zone is that it's not actually being a friend, it's being a little orbiter, it's just being a little puppy dog that gives her validation. If you get the opportunity to be an actual friend with a girl, go for it. But if that friend is basically saying, look, I'm in a relationship, so let's call it friends, then you guys don't need to be so literal about exactly the frame around the relationship. Go with the flow. If you get FaceTime and you've agreed to be friends, you can just express yourself naturally the way that you want to. So you treat her like a friend, then if you're attracted to her, you can make a jokey, flirty comment, see how she responds. It's exactly the same. What someone's saying, if they want to be friends or if it's not a date or if it is a date, it doesn't make a difference. What matters is the vibe of your conversation and your interaction when you actually have FaceTime together. That's where the emotions build. That's where the chemistry's built. So don't think you need to frame each follow-up interaction as a date for it to go anywhere. You really, really don't. Sometimes friends turn into relationships. Sometimes they're saying friends, but really they want something else, and it was just it was just easier for them to agree to meet you under the guise of friends. Sometimes you can go out and meet as friends. You can bring some guy friends. She can bring some girlfriends. Attractive women often hang out with attractive women, and you might be able to build a great social situation or a social circle. So just think of this as an opportunity, and don't try and force a sexual outcome to everything or force a relationship out of everything. Women are attracted to guys that don't push things, they don't force things. They're happy to just let the interaction develop naturally without pushing a frame onto it. Cool. What is your name, by the way? We haven't even done that yet.
Lakeisha. Yeah.
Lakeisha. Sam. So now we've got the first part of the... I know, we forgot about... We skipped the small talk. So I'm showing you a picture as a friend, and can you spell that? I'm going to butcher your name. Or just tell me.
Laky.
Again, so at this point in the interaction, I was trying to do like 5 things at once. So I was getting my phone out, I was getting the contact thing out, and then I was going to give it to her, pretend I was showing her a picture, and then she would take the phone and put her details in, just to make it kind of subtle and like a little joke. She didn't really go for it. I don't think she really understood what that game actually was. So she just sort of stared at the screen for a while and looked at me and then gave the phone back to me. So I was like, okay, just tell it to me, that's easier. But yeah, sorry, quick point on that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Women aren't looking for you to be some sort of James Bond figure from a movie. A lot of what I've realized actually more recently is the times when you're with a woman and you think you're being really cool or sexy or confident is actually the times when they're finding you a bit annoying, I found out. And the times when you think you're being a little bit awkward or too vulnerable or showing too much are the times when they start to find you attractive, because they're attracted to your personality. They're attracted to seeing what you're actually like. And so many guys plaster this veneer over the top of their personality that they think is cool or smooth or sexy, and women can see straight through it, but they can't see what's underneath. So they know there's a veneer there, but they have no idea what your actual personality is like. They just assume that it's an insecure one, or you wouldn't need to put this veneer over it. So don't feel like if you're a bit awkward or you forget something, you say something wrong or whatever, that's not a problem. What's important is that you just kind of recover from that and you just get back on it and keep expressing yourself, because it shows experience with high pressure situations. No one is perfect in their conversation. Why? S-H-A?
Yeah.
Cool, that looks like a Southern Indian name.
Yeah. 07
Yeah.
405
Okay.
769.
769.
I think so. Yeah. Cool. We can be friends.
Let's be friends.
Yeah.
Wait, so 0769.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, Lakeisha.
All right.
I'm just going to be honest, it's not showing up on WhatsApp. By the way, if you don't want to give...
That's
You don't have WhatsApp?
Yeah. I don't have WhatsApp.
You don't have WhatsApp, right. I'll send you a message. So at this point, I put the number in and it didn't show up on WhatsApp. It has now, so it was actually WhatsApp applicable. So that was a bit of a confusion. But I said after this, because this sort of process of getting the number had been a bit laboured with the whole giving her my phone, taking it back, putting the number in, spelling the name, not being on WhatsApp, it all felt, you normally want to leave an interaction on a high, like it all kind of just happened. And if you really labour over getting a number, you can often just leave it feeling a bit like forced and a bit weird. So what I said at the end, it was like, by the way, I think it will be more appropriate if we just meet up with a group of people. If I bring some friends along and we can meet, and she then chipped in and said, yeah, and I can bring some friends along as well, right? So she added to that narrative. Now, whether or not I'm going to message her privately, or whether I'm going to invite her out to a social event with some friends and introduce her to my guy friends and maybe some girlfriends and build the social network, that is still open. But by saying it's probably more appropriate if we meet with a group of friends, you're again supporting this idea that you're not pushing a frame on this, right? That you clearly like her because you came and talked to her and you've been flirting a little bit, but you're not trying to frame it. You're not trying to snatch her away from her relationship. You're relaxed. You're not trying to force anything. So either way, whether I want to meet up with her privately or meet up with her with friends, by saying that at the end, it might be more appropriate if we meet with friends, I'm making both outcomes more likely, because either I show myself as being more relaxed and less like I need something out of it, or I'm actually presenting another great opportunity to build a social circle with some attractive women. I think probably then it would be appropriate if I like invite you with some friends. If we're hanging out and doing some stuff, you can come along.
Yeah, I can bring my friends.
I would really like that. That would be fun, and that would be less inappropriate, right? I'll see you later, darling. It was lovely to meet you, Lakeisha. Bye. Cool, guys. So then you just say, nice to meet you again. This is coming out at the end, sort of towards the end of the whole COVID situation. So it's much harder than normal in most cases to establish that physicality, because you can't be quite sure how people are going to respond to it. And in this case, sitting next to someone, unless you really cozy up and put your arm around them, which in this particular case would have felt a bit forced, particularly when her boyfriend as well is inside the Apple store, which was actually opposite us at the time, I thought it best to leave that interaction kind of gracefully without establishing that physical contact. Because although physical connection is important, if you make someone feel awkward or uncomfortable, that's what they'll remember about you. And if she's even suspecting that her jealous and potentially, you know, not very nice boyfriend might catch a glimpse and I go for a kiss on the cheek or something, I might actually be putting her in a situation of discomfort. So by not going for a kiss on the cheek or a hug, in a sense I'm showing her that I understand the social nuances of this situation, and I'm not going to do anything that's going to put her in jeopardy, which is a more attractive quality than someone that would be physical in that situation. So I know that's a little bit more complex and introspective to the interaction, but I hope that all makes sense, guys. I think that was quite an interesting interaction in terms of the amount of social nuances and different little things to notice on. I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this breakdown. If you want to meet up with me and discuss your situations in person and come and get some coaching, I'm going to Poland for the next 3 weeks. I'll be back in London from early August until the 23rd of September. From the 11th of October, we're going to have Oktoberfest in Blumenau in the south of Brazil. And so if you want to come out there and do some coaching for a week with me, intense training in the best city for Oktoberfest in the world, German Brazilian women, really friendly guys, beautiful friendly women, and an amazing time, get in touch with me. Or for any other inquiries about Rio de Janeiro, you will know where to find me. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video. Sam out.